Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Andrew, and we are the IB English guys. Folks, today we are ending the countdown to paper one, and we are looking at a tabloid article. Mr. Giles, why are tabloids so important for our course?
Tabloids are sensational newspapers that are full of gossip and sensational stories to try to get us to buy their newspaper and to spread sometimes misinformation to entertain us.
Yeah, I think about my mom buying those at the checkout of the grocery store. My mom was all over those tabloids, all kinds of good stuff in there. Mr. Giles, what are the conventions of tabloids?
Well, the first one is we have sensational headlines. We look at the headline. Sometimes they're, again, full of exclamation points and dramatic language. They want to get us to read their newspaper. So a headline such as, Harry and Meghan bombshell, worst royal crisis in 85 years, exclamation mark.
Yeah, you want to think about juicy font, exclamation marks, really trying to pull you in.
That's right.
Typically alongside those headlines, you'll see very provocative images. These are typically large images that are meant to induce shock. And really just pull that reader further into the piece.
That's right. We're also going to see direct quotations from witnesses, from people they're quoting. And again, these quotations are deliberately chosen to be provocative and shocking many times.
Yeah, in terms of structure, you want to think about the length of the article. These are typically shorter pieces. These are not meant to be deep dives or essays, Mr. Giles. These are quick reads that evoke an emotion and get you moving further through the magazine.
That's right. We also see biased language. We want to really think about the word choice, the language that they're using, and how that, again, has bias. It's getting us to think and feel a certain way about that topic.
Well, you talk about bias. Sometimes there's bias by omission as well, Mr. Giles. That's what did the writer leave out? Sometimes we can really pull a reader one way or another just simply by what we did not include. Look for bias of omission.
That's right. These are not objective news articles. These are sensational gossip articles. We also see humor. Sometimes that humor is used at the expense of the person they're writing about. These, again, are meant to be entertaining and shocking, and they'll use that humor at times with sarcasm and irony.
Sure, and that really closely links to voice and tone. Again, these are not journalistic articles that are meant to be neutral in tone. These are going to be really pulling one way or another. So you want to think about what is the tone and how is voice being used.
That's right. We also see informal or colloquial language. Sometimes these tabloids are regional, and so we want to think about the language being informal or regional and think about that.
Yeah, and then lastly, you want to think about the use of biased names or labels. Maybe they're talking about Elon Musk. Maybe they refer to him as a rebel or a geek or a nerd, right? So you want to look at how labels and biased names are being used to really push the reader one way or another.
That's right. So we want to scrutinize these tabloids and think about how they're really different from conventional news. And I noticed that the word bias came up a lot, so that's important. So what do you say we turn the video and have a look at a particular cover? We're going to look at a cover from a very famous tabloid news source called The Sun. This is from the UK. And The Sun, it would be a good idea to actually review some of the tabloid news agencies all over the world. Let's talk about this. What do we notice about this particular cover?
Mr. Jones. Firstly, I notice, my gaze immediately goes to that German word, Schadenfreude. I think I've said that correctly. Could you talk a little bit about that word? Yeah, I know you speak German, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the word Schadenfreude is a word that's adopted in the English language, and it literally means pleasure at somebody else's misfortune. Joy at somebody's misfortune. And this is a German word. And again, they're even talking about, they say noun, quote, from the German, because this is a borrowed word in English from German. How are they playing up on this word?
Well, Mr. Giles, I actually went to university for a bit in the UK, and I can think about how the British football fans really hate the German national team, and they really are deriving a great sense of pleasure because the Germans were knocked out. It's that pleasure at watching someone else suffer.
That's right. And then I love how this image that they've chosen is, again, the German team just looking up at the scoreboard, looking down at their feet. The one guy
Mr.
looking
Giles,
with disgust.
There's a guy with his face in his shirt.
I know.
The pain and the agony, the British audience loves that photo.
They love it. You love seeing them looking dejected and miserable. And again, this sort of evokes this feeling of joy in the reader because the British fans are going to love seeing the Germans go down.
Of course, this links to that powerful headline, Germany out of World Cup. Again, that's a really concise, well-formulated headline. And of course, that red, not only does it match the color scheme of the sun, but it's that bright flashing red that really pulls the reader in and alerts them that In this case, it's not danger. Probably red for love in this case.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. I just love that sort of that word that's being defined there for us to play on things. And then at the bottom, we see that banner, "Now, come on, England!" exclamation mark. And that red banner with the national colors of the British flag, again, is really like a call to action, because now they want their national team to pony up and win now that Germany's out.
You see the logo for the British team at the bottom. You see the face of a player. I can't tell. It's too small. Maybe that's Keane. I can't really see who that is. Anyway, you get a sense of how they're tying this all together through labels and headlines.
That's right. So they want us to pick that up. They want us to read on further, because they're telling us to go to page 5, 6, and 7 to give us details about the British national team. Let's look at the upper left corner, because this is all part of the cover here. What are we noticing there?
First of all, Mr. Giles, I like how you just immediately section that off. I see how you're playing with structure. If I go to the upper left corner, of course, I see the words "The Sun," which is the powerful name of the publication that everybody recognizes, and they pin that to a pint of beer. Why might they do that, Mr. Giles?
Well, I think they're creating associations between British soccer fans and drinking beer. And again, they're alerting to the fact that the biggest pubs running dry. This might alarm the general British reader that's going to be worried that their beer is not going to be there. So again, this evokes a sense of fear that the beer's running out.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, they've chosen a really nice glass of lager there, Mr. Giles. It looks like the perfect beer. And again, that idea of running dry evokes that fear, and perhaps it makes people, it actually makes me lead off to that upper right-hand corner of the 5 pounds off, looking at a Soccer Sizzler barbecue. How does that pubs running dry possibly link to that 5 pounds off for barbecue?
I think they're linking, like watching the World Cup, drinking beer, having barbecues. All those things kind of tie in together in a really interesting way, right? And they're trying to attract the reader and to think about how they can save some money to go buy themselves.
Yeah, Mr. Giles, I really feel like the Sun is playing with values of nationalism, pride, and fear. They want the British population to come together and cheer on England, whether that's in the pub or at barbecue. We're going to come together with the Sun supporting us and really support the Lions as they try to pursue and go further into the World Cup.
That's right. That's right. So again, this is all in the cover. And why is the cover of a tabloid so critical, Andrew?
Mr. Giles, like whether it's a book, a magazine, or a tabloid, that cover that's, as you say in writing, that's the handshake. That's the first impression. So the publication gets one opportunity to entice the reader, bring them in, and hopefully make a purchase. And with the beer, with the 5 pounds off, with the Schadenfreude and the sad German team, I think they've succeeded in pulling in the British audience.
They want us to grab that off the shelves in the supermarket and keep reading.
Mr. Giles, they want us to drink beer, have barbecue, and cheer for the demise of the Germans.
That's right. Okay, so we hope that this made you think about tabloid articles. Pay attention to the type of news article. Things when you look at a tabloid, I think the tabloid articles make great text to talk about because they're so full of gossip and bias and sensational language. We need to look for those things.
Yeah, folks, one thing I would like to add, sadly, Mr. Giles and I are looking at a small copy right now. You definitely would want to explore the language as well. We've looked at some of the large words and the visual components, but you'll notice next to that glass of beer and under the label, under the coupon, you do see additional text. Make sure you explore that text as well. This is a multimodal text where you have image and text together. We want to equally attack both modes.
That's right. Okay, so that was our look at the actual text. Stay tuned, because our next video, we're going to take a look at a student response that actually unpacks this cover in great detail, and I think you'll enjoy having a look at that, and you'll see some really good analysis.
Folks, come back for the last video of our countdown to paper one.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.